Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our publishing and coaching services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Amanda Fisher, author of Unscramble Your Numbers. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Paul, and I'm so delighted to be here. I love talking books. Wonderful.
Excellent. You ready to get started?
I am indeed.
All right. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
My advice would be to work with a writing mentor. I was really lucky. I've actually written 3 books. Unscramble Your Numbers is my second book and the one that I work on the most. But before I wrote the first book, I was lucky enough to be working with Andrew Griffiths, Australia's #1 small business author, as my writing mentor. And he was more than just a writing mentor, to be honest. It was all about how to publish, how to promote, everything about writing the book. But it gave me the framework and the information on writing that book as best I possibly could. And I've then been able to apply that same learning to the subsequent books I've written. It was just, I was never one of those people that thought, I want to write a book. But when I started writing, it was invaluable to have someone there kind of holding my hand through the entire process. And so, get someone to help you, mentor you through the book writing and production process.
Well, and you mentioned two of my favorite things, frameworks and systems, because you can plug those into anything.
That's true. And I think, we all do like having that kind of discipline, the systems, if I do this, then I do that, then I do the other. It's also being able to chunk it down, because I think also writing a book is this massive, big elephant. How do you eat an elephant? One mouth, one chunk at a time, one mouthful at a time. And it's the same with writing a book. If you can chunk down what to do into the smaller pieces, then suddenly it's not quite so daunting. Still a big project, but not quite as daunting.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Now, this one might surprise you and our listeners. Because I'd worked with Andrew on how to do the whole production, I knew I was outsourcing the editing, the layout, the cover design, all that kind of production side. So for me, the hardest part was the title. And I reckon I spent more time agonising over the title than I did in writing the book. And because the title needs to say what you want it to say, it needs to have a bit of sizzle in it needs to be catchy enough that gets people's attention, but at the same time tells them what the book's about. I found that really, really difficult. Every book I've written, I agonise over the title. Every article I write, I agonise over the headline and spend more time on that than writing it. It's just, I don't know, my brain just goes into freeze mode and I start having to talk to everybody else. What do you think the title should be? And they're going, well, tell us more about the book. And it's the title. Definitely the title.
Well, you bring up a great point, too, because with titles, I always tell my clients this. The title is the hook. The subtitle is the benefit that your reader is going to get out of it. So you really have to zero in and figure out the title is going to get the hook, and then that subtitle is going to talk about the benefits of the book, what they're going to get out of it.
Yep, that's it. But it's still so hard to distill kind of what in 30,000, 50,000 words into a very small handful of words that end up on your cover.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that worked well.
Okay, so this is a nice little tip that I was taught. Once you've got your book converted into Kindle, and yes, all the drama that comes with creating it into Kindle, get someone else to do it, is put it up on Amazon Kindle for 99 cents for a day. And then promote some more on that specific day, and then keep a watch on that day in the product details down the bottom. It tells you your Amazon bestseller rank, and watch, and hopefully at some point during the course of that day, in the categories that you've nominated your book for, it'll hit that number one spot. And then you can go and promote and say that you're an Amazon number one best-selling author. And that's been a big strategy, because people that aren't in the know and people aren't in this authoring publishing space don't know that little trick. And so when you go out there and promote who you are and what you do, and provide your business card, your book, and promote your book, and you've got that nice little logo sitting on the outside of it now that says Amazon number one bestseller, like just amazing. I mean, it's just having a book opens the doors, but having an Amazon number one bestseller, people kind of look at you differently, and start to really want to work with you. So, yeah, my number one tip: get yourself that Amazon number one bestseller ranking, and it's actually not as difficult as people think to get that done. It does require concentrated effort on the day, but it's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely can be a challenge because, some people view bestsellers mean for a day, for a week. It's all different philosophies with that. So you do feel that if you can get everything peaked in a day, then you feel that you want to utilize that as being an Amazon bestseller.
Well, it gives you the ability to use it. I've got Unscramble Your Numbers. Is a number one Amazon bestseller, and I managed to keep it at number one actually for I think about 6-7 days. And
there you go.
It's now, so I'm just thinking, it's 24 days since I promoted it, and it's sitting on number 12. So I'm still in top 20. I've only last probably 3 or 4 days, maybe last week, it's dropped out of top 10. So, yes, get the number one for the day. If it extends on, fantastic. But also, I'm keeping a watch on, how long I'm in top 10, how long I'm in top 20, top 50, top 100. So that it's all part of that process to be able to then market it out there. That you are, that book's, it's a bit cheeky, but it's people that don't understand do kind of think it's pretty special. So I've used it to good stead in terms of my profile and who I am and what I do.
No, I agree with you. I mean, your book was number one for a week, so that's always my rule of thumb. I always talk about it like this: it's just like a movie or just like a new album that comes out. You always want to have that book number one for a week, and your book did that, and that's great. And that's the way I always look at it: is that to be a true number one bestseller, it really should be number one for a week, and it's awesome that your book was able to do that.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, and I'm loving that it's still sitting at number 12. 24 days on. So I thought you kind of think that it'll drop down the ranks and you'll be 12,521 by now, but it's I'm watching it every day, and it's super cool to just update my I've got the browser on that page, and I just refresh it to see what the number is. It's like, oh, still there. This is so cool.
Well, and especially during the first 30 days of your launch. So the minute that moment that the book comes live, then you've got 30 days from that point that it's considered a hot new release as well. So it's a nice thing with the way the algorithm works with Amazon, is that first 30 days is when you're definitely going to have the most exposure, and you're going to be able to maximize that, because Amazon, they love new books. So for that first 30 days, it's really a nice way to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your favorite book. So what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Now this is an interesting one. I'm a romantic at heart, despite the fact that I'm an accountant and, a numbers girl, and an author. My favourite book is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, an old classic, of course. But I used to read it every year. Like at Christmas, it would be my favourite book to just sit at Christmas and have another read of it. And I think, that what I learned from it fueled my passion for fairness and equality. And that has been a theme all through my life, whether it's, fair pay for, it doesn't matter who's doing the job. If you're doing the same job, you should be paid the same. Women can do the same thing as men. If they're doing the same thing, they should be treated the same, and all that type of stuff. And it's a bit of a different one in the sense that it's not a business book as such, although I've got a whole library full of business books. But for me, that had a big impact on my life, and it still continues to do so. Because we're all humans. We're all the same, really. Doesn't matter who we are, where we come from, what we do. We should all be treated fairly and equally.
Absolutely. Well, for our final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is the Nike slogan, "Just do it." And I think it's my motto. I mean, when I'm feeling nervous about something or fearful about something, I just think in my mind, just do it. And I do. It keeps me going, it keeps my momentum going, and they've distilled into 3 words. No doubt cost them millions to do, but they've distilled into 3 words something that just makes life easier. So when something is a challenge, is difficult, for whatever reason, I just think, no, Amanda, just do it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned
that.
And
so I do it. Yeah. It comes out the other end and you've done it, and it's like, oh, that wasn't so bad after all.
Well, and the funny thing is, that's one of my philosophies too, and actually one of my books, I actually titled it, "Just Do It." So I love that phrase.
I didn't know that. Oh, awesome. You didn't get caught up with an argument from Nike?
No, it's actually legal under fair use. So as long as you look at the legalities and everything, and as long as it's under fair use, and you're not actually utilizing their logo. Like if I had to put a Nike logo with that, that'd be the whole different conversation. But just the title, "Just Do It," in fair use, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, definitely do your research on that. But I've had books called "The Pursuit of Happiness," "Just Do It," PMA, Positive Mental Attitude. So they do fall under fair use. So it's one of those things where you have to do your research, but as long as you're not using logos or images, then you're okay with it.
Right. Perfect. Love it. Love it.
So Amanda, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
So either through LinkedIn, where I'm Amanda Fisher CA, so Amanda Fisher FISHER CA, or my website, amandafisher.com.au.
Well, Amanda, I want to thank you once again for being a guest on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me on the show and allowing me to share some of my book production writing knowledge.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.